Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are so.
A gorgeous Sunday in Atlanta, Georgia, as we welcome you to Sunday Braves. Big crowd gathering here at Turner Field as the Braves and Cardinals meet in the third and final game of this three-game series. Braves trying to avoid a three-game series sweep. Sunday Braves on Fox Sports South, brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers. Make it a Hyundai Sunday every week on Fox Sports South. Hi again, friends. Chip, Joe, and Tom with you. Happy Sunday. Happy May Day, everybody. Let's see if the Braves can break into the win column. The old baseball saying, fellas, it's not how you start, but how you finish, really proving applicable this weekend.
Yeah, it really has. The Braves starting pitching has been fantastic really all year long, and particularly the last 10 games since, I think, San Francisco. So first in ERA, first in home runs allowed, opponent's batting average. They're going out giving the Braves a chance to win each and every night. The back end, the relieving core, it's been a little bit different story, Joe.
Yeah, and they started off so good, Tom, but the last 10 games for the bullpen has been anything but good. The earned run average has really dropped, so has the long ball and the blown saves. That's what's really hurt the ball club right now, not being able to protect late leads. They've had two of them in this series and haven't been able to hold on. They've lost both games by one run.
Tough customer facing the Braves today. It's Jaime Garcia, finished third in the Rookie of the Year balloting last year for St. Louis. Derek Lowe, the Braves right-hander, will match up with him in Game 3 at Turner Field. First pitch, starting lineups on a beautiful, sunny May Sunday. Coming up in a moment. Here in Atlanta, the Cardinals and the Braves wrap up this three-game series. And St. Louis has been a very good road team this year. They're 10-5 away from Busch Stadium and lead the Reds by 2 games in the National League Central. As we mentioned, it's not been the big hitters in the middle of the lineup, but the fleas among the beasts that have hurt the Braves in this series.
Well, Derek Lowe making his 7th start on the season today, 2-3 with a 3.21 ERA coming in, and against this Cardinals club, hasn't had much success. 1-7 with a 6.85 ERA and 9 career starts. His last win coming as a Dodger back in 2007.
And Nick Punto is the man that starts things off. A sunny 78-degree day in Atlanta. And 2 pitches, 2 strikes from Derek Lowe. A longtime American League player, playing with Skip Schumacher on the disabled list. Schumacher, the Cardinals' second baseman. And now a 2-2 count.
For the most part in this series, the zones have been pretty tight. Not much give, and didn't get that one a little off the plate.
And that's past Mather. And Nick Punto leads off with a single.
Derek's 37 years old, 6'6", 230 in his 14th year in the big leagues. This is his 7th start. No decision in his last outing. His 4 keys to success today. The little guys like Punto, who just led off with a single. Get them, corral them so you don't have anything set up for the big guys. And reduce your pitch count. Try to get through on this day game with no long innings.
Ball 1 to Colby Rasmus, the Cardinals center fielder, just 1 for 8 in the series. Joe mentioned the tight zones by the umpiring crew in this series. Ted Barrett's the man calling balls and strikes today.
Along with Tim McClellan, they qualify as one of the biggest umpiring crews in the league.
That's pulled through for a Rasmus hit. 2 singles for St. Louis, and this is not what you want to have happen with Albert Pujols coming up.
No, certainly not how you want to start the game. And as we alluded to, taking control of the little guys that have been such pesky hitters here in this series. But Cardinals have hit into a lot of double plays, and Albert's hit into his fair share as well. So hopefully Derek can get one of those ground balls and find somebody.
What has to scare you about this Cardinal offense, leading the league in hitting, leading the league in runs, and leading the league in on-base percentage, is that, frankly, Albert really hasn't gotten going yet.
As you see, just a 245 average.
You're right, Tommy. Albert Pujols has hit into 9 of the 36 double plays hit by Cardinal batters this year.
Which, if he hadn't hit into so many double plays, think about the damage that Holiday and Berkman would really be doing if those guys were still on base.
Albert not sure about that one. No balls, 2 strikes.
He will be a free agent at the end of the year, barring some intervention by Cardinal management that asked him to negotiate a long-term deal. He told them he didn't want to talk about a contract during the season.
And he takes a called third.
That was some good pitching right there. Great command.
Backdoor sinker there for strike 3, and I'm sure Albert probably had in his brain somewhere that Derek might try to get him with that slider, and that pitch started out kind of in the same slot as his slider, and Albert gave up on it, I think, thinking it was going to continue off the plate.
Matt Holliday has hit the Georgia Lottery jackpot. And boy, has he hit Derek Lowe hard. looking in the form of Matt Holliday, the man that has a higher batting average than any other player in Major League Baseball right now. He's at 408.
When you look at the Georgia Lottery jackpot up on the board, if you just draw a little 4 right there, that's his average against Derek Lowe in his career. Oh, there we go.
Well, the law of averages. Hopefully today will be Derek's day.
Remember, Matt missed some time with an appendectomy. And when he went down, the Cardinals offense really went into dry dock. They were really frustrated for a week or so in St. Louis. No such problems now. As the count now 2 balls and a strike.
Yeah, there was some of that early April panic going on there in St. Louis with the slow start and why aren't we hitting, what's wrong with Albert, and I think they've pretty much made all that go away.
Trying to keep it in on him.
Well, hitters count right here, and obviously you want a ground ball. Derek's had good success behind in the count with his slider, so we'll see which pitch he goes to here. There it was.
Good call.
See how aggressively Tony La Russa plays it here with Berkman in the on-deck circle. Full count and 1 out.
Well, they've been aggressive this whole series, doing some things out of the ordinary. Wouldn't surprise me to see him going.
Fly ball to left. That's well hit. That's going to go high off the fence. Here comes Rasmus around third. There'll be no relay. And Matt Holliday continues to punish Derek Lowe. It's St. Louis 2-0.
Breaking ball again. Virtually the same place. Not a bad pitch.
No, not a bad pitch, but I think after the one that he just saw enabled Holliday to stay on a little bit better, and I think that was the one that Derek was trying to get the finish off the plate a little bit, but didn't quite get the finish on it.
Here's Berkman.
You know, it's kind of funny, despite their great numbers for the guys in the middle of their order, they've not been just a tremendous first inning team. They've only scored, I think it's now 11 runs. I got to look it up, in the first inning. You'd think with those guys they'd be putting some rallies together. There it is, 10 runs in the first inning. Middle innings are their big ones.
Yeah, they're the middle innings. They're 19, 21, 24. So clearly, the second time through the lineup, they're figuring some things out against some pitchers and really having some success.
An 0-2 pitch, and Berkman smokes that into right center. Holliday scores. Berkman's going to leg out a double, and it's 3-0 St. Louis.
Just a mistake. 0-2 fastball. McCann was set up off the plate, but that was belt high and ripped up the middle. He gets a double on a turned out to be a ground ball up the middle.
Yeah, that's one where you kind of crossed up your defense a little bit, and ground ball turns into a double.
3 runs, 4 hits for the Cardinals, and David Freese, a St. Louis boy, will bat with 1 out. Cardinals happy to have this guy healthy. Ankle problems have really set him back.
Tell you what, though, they've got a nice little replacement in DeCalso. He's had a heck of a series of
Sure
so
has.
far here.
This guy's in a good spot, though. Right? You saw his numbers, and they're real good numbers, and he's hit in 4 straight. But after a pitcher gets through Rasmus, Pujols, Holiday, and Berkman, there might be a tendency to relax a little bit, and there's Mr. Freeze ready to take advantage.
And he drives the ball hard to left. Cardinals getting some good swings in this first inning.
It's a better team, I think, than I thought they were before they came to town. I knew they were hitting a ton, that they had gotten hot. But it's a good lineup, and they've got some good defense up the middle. Certainly have some solid pitching, even without Wainwright. They're a better team than I thought.
They good enough to overcome their supposed bullpen issues?
If you score 7 or 8 a night, yes.
Yeah.
Well, even with their bullpen issues that have been much talked about, you know, the guys that I've seen coming out of that bullpen, it's not a lack of stuff. They got some guys that are coming out there that can bring it a little bit, but you know, they're kind of young, inexperienced guys you don't know a whole lot about that are trying to find their way a little bit.
Yadier Molina.
Not a whole lot. Unlike the end of the Atlanta bullpen with inexperience there too, but they've got great stuff and great arms.
But to your point, Joe, you know, we were talking about that, this Cardinals lineup. You know, you pay so much attention to those middle guys, and rightly so. But as we've talked about, you know, the other guys are kind of those pesky little professional kind of hitters that there's no let up. They're going to battle you. They're going to make you make pitches to get them out. They might not hit home runs, but they're going to get their base hits.
Now Molina, a 3-0 count.
You're right, Tom. And this guy, Yadier Molina, among catchers, is one of the toughest to strike out among players at that position.
You know, as we saw Friday night at the game that we did, it was one of those games you can't keep track of how many foul balls they hit, because they're up there spoiling good pitches and just trying to keep the at bat alive.
Molina will want that pitch for Garcia when the Cardinals go to the field for the first time.
Yeah, and Garcia's got a good hook.
Right center and playable. And that will retire the side. Cardinals strike for 3 runs on 4 hits. Matt Holliday continues to hit Derek Lowe. Lance Berkman an RBI double. It's 3-0 St. Louis. Braves coming up.
Those are great dogs, those Vizslas. That's a beauty. Beautiful day, 78 degrees, low humidity, light wind, and it is a doggone good day, except for the fact the Braves are already behind 3-0.
Well, let's see if this starting nine can turn that around today. One noticeable difference. Joe Mather gets the start for Freddie Freeman and his first start at first base for the Braves. But you're right, fellas. Tough customer on the mound. Kind of reminds us of someone we know pretty well, Joe.
Well, aside from the glove, Jaime Garcia making his sixth start on the year. He's 3-0 with a 2.08 ERA. Making his second start against the Braves. He's 1-0 against the Braves. Beat them last April. Pitched a good ball game against them. 7 innings, 4 hits, no runs. So tough customer. Third, I think, in the Rookie of the Year balloting last year. Would prefer to see a tanner colored glove, perhaps.
I know you would. 24 years old, 6'2", 215 out of Reynosa, Mexico. His keys to success: he's dominated the NL East. He's an excellent ground ball pitcher. He's second on their team in ground ball efficiency to Jake Westbrook. And against the National League East in his career, 5-1 with a 1.28 ERA, including that win over the Braves last year.
And that's tipped and caught. Martin Prado is down swinging. And Garcia has his first out.
Well, we know the last 2 games have been tough losses for Atlanta, both by scores of 3-2. Well, the Cardinals already have their 3 runs today, so Atlanta's offense knows what it's going to take at least to win today. And this guy, I think what Martin just struck out on was his cutter, and it's kind of a natural cutter. According to scouting reports, it's 88 to 92. He just has natural movement that way into right-handed hitters.
And that may be the scariest thing about this Cardinal team, Joe. You mentioned they're better than you thought they'd be. To your point, their starters 2 runs or less in 19 of their first 27 games. Nobody talks about their pitching staff. Talk about their offense.
And they're doing it without Wainwright, too. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's the only thing you ever hear talked about their starting rotation is that Wainwright's out for the year.
And he's got that hook, too. A good 12-6 type curveball and a circle change.
So far, he hasn't had to use his defense today. Holiday, Rasmus, and Berkman in the outfield. Punto and Terrio, the double play combo up the middle. Freese and Pujols. And Yadier Molina can shut down a running game if you choose to employ that offensively. Here's Chipper.
Tom mentioned the Braves only got 4 hits off Garcia last year in 7 innings, and among the guys that are in the lineup today, there's only one guy with a hit, and that was McLeod. Everybody else was 0 for 3, 0 for 2.
He throws harder than I remember, too.
He does throw hard, and you got to like the fact that after being given a 3-run lead, he's out there, he's being aggressive, and he's give me the ball, get back in the mound, let's go to work.
And Chipper couldn't check his swing, and Garcia strikes out the side in the bottom of the first inning. 3-0 St. Louis. We go to the second. Sports and Outdoors. Bye. Is brought to you in part by Academy Sports and Outdoors, by AT&T, by Delta Airlines, and by Ford. Well, too early to start shouting Mayday, but May 1st hasn't started well for the Braves this afternoon. 3-0 Cardinals as we go to the second. Terrio, Garcia, and Punto, 8-9-1. Coming up for Tony La Russa. That ball twisting away from Jason. And one out.
Tommy, for a sinker ball pitcher like Derek, and I said this about his last start out in San Diego, at times it looked like he was almost working in warp speed, and he looks to be working fast anyway because his windup's fast. But for a sinker baller, can you work too fast?
Yeah, I think you can work too fast, and I think generally you work too fast when you're feeling real good, and that's generally not a good combination for a sinker baller. You know, and it's hard because you're always caught between either pushing the throttle or pulling the throttle back a little bit, getting in between, trying to find a good tempo. And it's tough because your mindset as a pitcher is you never want to start trying to back down to throw strikes. You know, you want to take what you have and try and figure something out, and some days you never figure anything out.
Popped up. Brian McCann has no play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Friends, as you know, recent storms have devastated cities and towns all across Braves country. Fox Sports South and Sports South care for our community. And we're asking you to support the American Red Cross and their disaster relief efforts. So please click, text, or call today. Garcia by a step, 2 down.
Sorry, Chip, did I read or hear correctly that the Yankees had made a huge donation, $500,000 to the relief efforts? That's awesome.
Yeah, that is pretty awesome. But it's it's the kind of thing that I don't care where you are. When you turn on the TV and you see those images, it's the kind of thing that you can't believe what you're seeing, and you can't believe what people are having to go through.
Right.
Punto with 2 outs. Every year it seems like the Cardinals have 2 or 3 guys just like Punto on their roster. Interchangeable guys. Good glove man. Good start. Pinch hit. Play 8 years for the Minnesota Twins, you know they know how to play.
Yeah, he's probably pretty well versed in doing the little things.
Things you're talking about, those players and those interchangeable players. I can think of Aaron Miles, who was on their team a couple of years ago, who's pretty versatile. They also had Brendan Ryan, who was their everyday shortstop, a guy that Mike Shannon, their longtime broadcaster, said This guy's plays 10 years in the big leagues. He'll be the best shortstop that's ever played the game. But after they got Ryan Terrio from the Dodgers, the Cardinals dealt Ryan to Seattle for a pitcher, Mikhail Clito. I think for one reason, and that is improve their offense a little bit at that position.
The Cardinals trying to hold out and get Felix Hernandez in that deal from Seattle.
Yeah, I think they probably were. Somehow that didn't work out.
Here's what the Cardinals do to opposing pitchers, right, Tommy?
Well, that's what we talked about. I mean, just a professional approach to the at-bat right here. Derek got ahead 0-2, tried to finish him with a couple pitches in the dirt, and Punto didn't bite. And now, you know, with a 2-2 count, Derek's got to bring it a little bit closer to the plate. And Punto just keeps fouling him off to try and get to the point where Derek catches a little bit too much of the plate with a pitch.
That one caught the inside corner, and Lowe has a 1-2-3 second. 3-0 Cardinals. Brian McCann coming up for the Braves.
Hayward's trying to chip in and help out the offense, but on our Academy Sports and Outdoor leaderboard here, you look at the 3 and 4 spot in the order. That's Chipper and McCann batting average compared to the rest of the lineup. On base, slugging, hitting or scoring position. The rest of the guys in the lineup going to have to start picking up a little bit of the load.
And a couple things play into that. Braves 13th in the league in hitting coming into play today. They've really struggled against left-handed pitching. They've got a good one opposing him today. Garcia staked to a 3-run first inning lead.
I read an interesting story, really I guess one of those stories that you find in baseball that you just scratch your head and go, really? That had to do with Garcia. A scout for the Orioles recommended him to Baltimore, and they drafted him out of high school in like the 30th round, but they didn't sign him because he failed their psychology test. Well, he didn't speak English real well, and the test didn't translate well in Spanish. So a lot of the answers he gave were language related. So they didn't sign him. He went back in the draft. The scout goes from the Orioles to the Cardinals, works for the Cardinals, recommends they sign him. They didn't have a test. And he's not a bad pitcher.
I would say so.
The Orioles no longer have that test either, by the way.
I was going to say, I would venture to think they wouldn't.
One out for Dan Uggla, who's maybe the happiest Brave fellas to see the calendar switch from April to May.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's. I mean, I don't think anybody's worried per se. I mean, again, he's his career numbers are what they are, and you expect that he's going to turn things around. But I think for this Braves offense, in order for it to really get going, he's going to be the key.
What's so perplexing about Uggla's numbers, Dan's hitting 107 against left-handed pitching this year.
Yeah, that's hard to figure.
I wish he would have done that when I was still playing.
And Dan's got 21 hits. 9 of them are for extra bases. 3 doubles, a triple, 5 homers. Needs more singles, I guess.
To third and freeze. Fans, get your tickets now to see Ludacris live in concert, presented by Coca-Cola and Delta Airlines. That's after the Braves and Phillies play Saturday, May 14th at 1 o'clock. Tickets for this game are going fast. Join in the fun. Visit Braves.com/Ludacris. That's Ludacris today. Here's Alex. Early exit for Alex and Freddie yesterday. Late in the game, 9th inning. Both he and the Braves manager were ejected, arguing balls and strikes.
Marvin Hudson got them both. Freddie said he was trying to get out there to protect Alex, but he got there a little too late.
Two and two. Again to third. You bet. 6 up, 6 down for Garcia. 25 pitches, 19 strikes, and more importantly, a 3-run lead.
Third inning, time for our Geico quote of the day, and today it comes from Matt Holliday of the St. Louis Cardinals. He says about their team's offense, there's been numerous ways for us to score runs that maybe we couldn't do last season. When you go 1-8 with guys having a chance to do something on offense, it makes it much harder on the pitcher. 1 through 8, I should say, talking about their lineup. And they certainly took care of business in the middle of the order today in the first inning.
And here they are again in the third.
First 2 games of the series, Pujols, Holiday, and Berkman just 4 hits. First inning today, they went 2 for 3 and drove in 3 runs. And that was with Pujols striking out.
But it speaks of what we've been talking about, and this team being more balanced and better than you think that they are, is that they don't have to rely on those 3 guys to get everything done all the time. And unfortunately for the Braves, those 3 wanted to get in on the action.
Rasmus down the left field line. And no play for Prado. 1-2.
And that may be why I kind of underestimated them when I was looking at their offensive numbers. I'm thinking, okay, well, Holliday's on fire, Berkman's tearing it up. You know what Pujols is going to do. Okay, but they'll cool off. And they will to a certain extent, but I just didn't give the other guys enough credit for what they're doing to help out.
That caught the corner. And Derek now has retired 6 straight men. And doesn't that say something about the skill of the man in the dugout for the Cardinals, Tony La Russa? I mean, if anybody's going to figure out what the Cardinals need to do, you'd figure it'd be that guy.
Well, you would. And you know, he's obviously been around the game a long time. He knows what little pieces they need maybe to put the whole puzzle together, and they've done a good job getting those guys.
When he's scuffling, too. Tony's got a real bad infection in his left eye that's just very painful, causing him a lot of trouble. Yet he's still out there.
And you look at the numbers for Tony La Russa and his managerial career, all the success, all the accolades, the world championships. It's not an easy chair to try to fill when you consider the other men that have managed that Cardinal franchise. Fred Schoendienst, Whitey Herzog. As Pujols was reaching. And Holliday hits with the bases clear.
Now you saw that he needs 111 wins to pass Joe McGraw. And he'll do that. He'll be second to Connie Mack when it's all said and done. John McGraw, I should say. I think I said Joe.
Yeah, Tony under contract for this year. There's an option for him to come back next season in St. Louis. And his Redbirds 16-11, 2 games ahead of the Reds in the National League Central.
Stepped out because Derek was working too fast, and that makes Derek mad. Flips the ball in the air, turns his back to home plate. Derek had found a good rhythm, and Holliday upset it. There's the step out. There's the turnaround.
Holliday has something in his eye. Cardinals made a big investment in this man, acquiring him from Oakland. And they've signed him through 2016 with a club option for the 2017 year.
I'm sure they'd like to see that guy hitting in front of him stay right where he is.
And that kind of surprised me some, because you knew that the time was coming where they were going to have to throw some dollars at Albert Pujols to keep him, and yet they went ahead and gave Holliday the big money too in advance of that.
Lowe jumped ahead of Holliday, couldn't finish him off, and walks his first man. This one with 2 outs. Here's Berkman. Cardinals took a chance on this guy too, didn't they?
You took the words right out of my mouth. A lot of people thought maybe this guy was done too. 35 years old.
He looks a lot slimmer than he did in those even slimming Yankee pinstripes that he sported last year, and playing the outfield again.
He looks like he's moving around a lot better than he was last year.
And he signed a 1-year deal.
I think it was his knee that was bugging him last year. When your legs are going, it's tough to stay in shape because you can't do much. You know, you're trying to save whatever you have left to go out there in the field and play.
Had arthroscopic surgery on his left knee last year that kept him on the DL until April 20th. And then sprained his right ankle while he was with the Yankees. And remember that one offseason he had to have surgery on his knee for injuring it in a flag football game, I think it was.
One ball, 2 strikes. His nickname not as sexy as, say, the praying mantis. They call Berkman the Big Puma.
I like that.
Little tapper. How did Berkman get down the line? Eric Lowe's retired 8 of the last 9. He's righted the ship. Braves look for their first base runner. Cardinals have made a defensive change in this inning. Nick Punto's out of the game. Daniel Descalso will check in. We'll let you know what's up with Punto as soon as we find out. Another one of those Cardinal interchangeable parts. As former Cardinal Joe Mather, just up from AAA Gwinnett, gets his first at bat of the day.
He's got a big swing and a long swing. He's very strong for his wiry frame, compared somewhat to Jeff Francoeur in spring training for his build. If you shorten up his swing a little bit, he can do some damage. Got some big years in the minor leagues for the Cardinals. 16 homers in A-ball in 06, 18 homers the next year in Double A. In fact, 31 combined in 2007 between Double A and Triple A.
popped up. Pujols. One out. 7 up, 7 down for Garcia. And let's take a look at our AT&T Universe trivia question. He finished third in the Rookie of the Year voting in 2010. Who's the only Cardinal pitcher to win the Rookie of the Year?
Probably should turn that over to Tom, pitching department. Just let him handle it.
The first guy that came to mind played center field for the Braves last year.
Rick Ankiel?
Yeah.
Gotta like Yadier Molina. He's so good behind the plate, but with nobody on, you throw him one in the dirt. It's kind of like, hey, get that out of here.
Yeah. No.
I don't really want that.
First chance for Descalso. 2 out for Derek Lowe. That's a good trivia question. They've had
it is. I mean, Dizzy Dean, it was before Rookie of the Year awards, I'm sure.
Well, I mean, Steve Carlton was a Cardinal originally.
Bob Gibson. One of the Bennis, Andy Bennis, maybe?
Well, he finished with the Cardinals. I think he started in San Diego.
Started in San Diego, okay.
Alan Bennis?
Alan Bennis, maybe?
Bennis.
Who's now a scout for them. By the way, that last fastball, not the one that was fouled back by Derek, but the one before was 93. So it's not like this guy is just some little crafty left-hander.
Nothing wrong with crafty.
With a red glove. I've always said crafty guys ought to have red gloves, though.
Yeah.
Might have helped him win a few more games.
Tell you what, even if I wanted to wear a red glove at that time, the guy that was wearing number 6 in the dugout wouldn't have let that happen.
I saw him today. He was at the ballpark.
Yeah, I saw him too.
Looked good. Just got back from his cruise with wife Pam, and Bobby was talking about what a good time they had on their cruise.
Word on Punto, fellas, a hamstring strain. They took him out for precautionary reasons today. Cardinals go back home. Big homestand for them. They've got the Marlins and the Brewers. Garcia is perfect through 3 innings. He has struck out 4 men. And after 3, Derek Lowe and the Braves trail by 3. On Fox Sports South is brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers. Make it a Hyundai Sunday every week on Fox Sports South. Chip, Joe, and Tom with you on Park in the Park Day at Turner Field in Atlanta. Braves wrapping up the series with the Cardinals. We'll welcome the Brewers to town tomorrow night for 4. Then we hit the road for a brief 3-game stop against the Phillies at Citizens Bank Park.
Happy birthday to little Kathy Simpson, celebrating a birthday today. She'll be enjoying the dogs here today. She's enjoying her time with the dogs today, I'm sure.
So Kathy, happy birthday. News of import for Braves fans. The Major League Baseball Commissioner's Office has rendered its judgment. Roger McDowell was suspended for 2 weeks, fined an undisclosed amount for his actions with the fans in San Francisco. This was Roger's statement today. Obviously an apology. He's going to apologize to Mr. Quinn and his family, and apologizes to the fans in Frisco, the Braves, his family, and to Major League Baseball.
It's good that I'm sure that he's happy to know what was coming down, that he'll be able to serve it, get it over with, and get it behind him and move on.
And that suspension did start on Friday, not with today's verdict being rendered, so it'll be 2 weeks from Friday when Roger can return. In Roger's absence, Dave Wallace is the acting pitching coach for the Braves. And Freese, Molina, and Terrio coming up for the Cardinals. Freese grew up in the St. Louis suburbs out in West County. Went to the same high school as Ryan Howard, Lafayette High School.
What high school did you go to there?
Parkway West.
Is that a rival school?
Arch rivals. They had a much better baseball team than we did, obviously.
Yeah, but you guys could out broadcast them.
Oh, well, yeah. On certain days.
You beat him in a debate, I'll bet, right?
2-2 to Freese. That has to be a thrill, though, wouldn't you think? Playing for your hometown team? You ever think what it'd be like to pitch for the Red Sox when you were growing up as a kid?
Yeah, I mean, that's all I wanted to do as a kid, but never happened. But yeah, I would think it'd be a ton of fun to play in your hometown.
Maybe a lot more fun in this park than Fenway for a lefty, though, right?
Probably, yes.
Eric looks like a different pitcher after the first 5 hitters of the game.
And on Sherwin-Williams painting the corners, this box track shows us perfect pitch. That slider down, started it at the knees, right at the bottom of the zone. But speaking of hometown guys, I mean, Brian McCann enjoying that same luxury. And who's more popular than he is?
Not many people.
You know, the broadcasters for the Giants, Mike Krukow and Dwayne Kuiper, told me that Brian McCann is their favorite player.
Really?
Yeah, we were in San Francisco. They said ever since he came out with a quote and said he loves coming to San Francisco and loves the ballpark, he said, we started paying attention and we love this guy.
Molina, 1 ball, no strikes. Flied out his first time up. There are some folks who believe that Brian McCann is on his way to a Hall of Fame career. I know it's way early. A perennial all-star. Great hitter. Maybe, Tommy, the most important part, wants to be great.
Well, he does. I mean, that's the beauty of Brian. He's continuously working on things and trying to get better. And, you know, there's no question. Yeah, he has definitely started his career off in that fashion. But, again, like so many, like you said, it's a matter of staying on that track. And especially at that position, there's so many things that can go wrong and hinder what you're able to do. So, you know, with a little bit of good luck, yeah, I think 5-10 years from now we're having that conversation.
And knock on wood, but contrast Brian McCann with Joe Mauer, who for whatever reason just has not been able to stay healthy in Minnesota with the Twins. Similar offensive players. And Lowe struck out Molina.
He is doing some Sherwin-Williams painting, isn't he?
Well, he's figured something out. There's no question about that. There's that comeback sinker that he likes to finish guys off with. But, you know, you look at his first inning. He gave up a couple of doubles in the air. His first 3 outs were all fly ball outs. And since then, it's been ground balls and strikeouts. So clearly he's figured something out. And maybe it gets back to what we talked about, Joe. Maybe get out there feeling a little too strong.
He's been a strike-throwing machine. Lowe had 44 pitches through the first 2 innings. This will be his 75th. It's much more economical and effective. A ground ball. Vacuumed up. And down go the Cardinals in order in the 4th. Derek Lowe needs some support. 3-0 St. Louis. The Braves can reward him here in the bottom of the 4th inning. 9 up, 9 down for Jaime Garcia. We'll wrap it up with the Redbirds today, then welcome the Brewers to town tomorrow night. Joe and Tom will have all 4 of those games for you on Peachtree TV in Atlanta, around the South. You'll see it on Fox Sports South with our coverage starting at 7 o'clock.
There's that man Gallardo again. His ERA has skyrocketed since the Braves saw him, but he's still a tough pitcher. Marco Estrada. Zach Greinke makes his major league debut for 2011 against the Braves. And Sean Markham, who also pitched a gem against the Braves in Milwaukee.
Brewers trying to chase down Cincinnati and St. Louis. Milwaukee starts play today. 2.5 games off the pace. Milwaukee 13 wins, 13 losses. Chop toward Freese at third. Good play.
That's a base hit if he's not playing in. He, for whatever reason, expecting Martin to perhaps bunt. He's even on the edge of the grass. Otherwise that's a perfect swinging bunt.
Yeah, you don't see too many teams play Martin in there, but
no.
They had a hunch about something.
Jason Hayward, 8-game hitting streak. Garcia struck him out in the first.
Garcia's gone through his Tommy John surgery already. He was in the minor leagues back in September of 2008. Missed most of the 09 season and then came back and was third, as Tom said, in the Rookie of the Year voting last year.
Man who finished 1 spot ahead of Garcia is Jason Hayward. And he's got a 1-2 count. Holiday in left. All right, let's see if my partners had their thinking caps on. Back to the AT&T Uverse trivia question. Garcia finished third in the Rookie of the Year behind Buster Posey, Jason Hayward.
I'm going with Bennis.
I'm going to go with Todd Worrell. Hey!
Who texted you the answer?
Oh, my gosh.
There's this little thing called the media guide. I cheated on that one.
Wait a minute. What? Let's revisit that prepositional phrase on that one.
I have not cheated on any others, I swear.
Here's Chipper. Hey, forgot about Worrell. Todd was a starting pitcher for the Cardinals, finished as their closer. His Cardinal career.
As you said to us when you showed us that in the media guide, you'll never guess this.
No.
You're right. I would have guessed 100 other guys. Not to take anything away from Todd in the year he had and the career he had, but I mean, just with the Cardinals' history, just not where he would have gone.
In the air to right, but right at Lance Berkman. Garcia's got a special game going in Atlanta. He's perfect through 4 and enjoys a 3-0 lead here at Park in the Park Day at Turner Field.
Only thrown 40.
After a tough first inning where you see his location on all his pitches are just a smidgen up in the zone, and he paid the price for it. Since then, it's been a different story. He's retired 9 out of the last 10, the only blemish being a walk, and the big difference, that sinker and those breaking balls are finishing in the bottom part of the zone at the knees and below versus a little bit above, and the success has been much better.
You see it, no runs, no hits since that first inning, and now he starts with the Cardinal pitcher, Jaime Garcia, who is 0 for 12 now at the plate. That first inning, Tommy's a funny thing.
Well, it is. I mean, you just don't, you know, you're trying to keep your emotions in check. You're trying to keep your effort level in check. You know, and I mean, let's face it. I mean, with everything Derek's been dealing with, guarantee you he was excited to get out there and pitch and get off to a good start, and I think he was just too anxious when he got out there trying to make too many things happen.
I really liked what Ronnie talked about in the pregame show, and you guys were talking about upstairs about how the field is your sanctuary. It's not just your workplace.
No, it is. I mean, look, we're human beings as well, and we all go through things off the field. And, you know, yeah, you have a certain element of an escape once you get out there in the field. I mean, it's not to say that you don't ever for a second think about whatever it is you're dealing with, but for the most part, you're locked in on baseball for a couple hours, and it's a nice getaway.
Right side, and Garcia hooks his first hit of the year into right field to lead off the 5th inning.
That's your fault, Chip. You had to mention that he was 0 for 12 or whatever he was. I mean,
that's good, Tom, because I blame a lot of stuff on Chip.
Okay. All right. Well, let's keep it consistent.
I'm going home where I'm going to get blamed for a lot of stuff. I don't need it from you, too. Fans all next week, take advantage of Braves Value Days. Save up to $16 off each game ticket. See the Braves take on the Brewers and save. Value Day tickets must be purchased in advance at braves.com/Value Days.
In the first inning, if my recollection is correct, he jumped out on top of Punto 0-2 right away. 2 first pitch strikes to start the game before he eventually gave up a single. Didn't put him away. He made a mistake there. He made a good pitch on Holiday with the slider on a 3-1 pitch, but came back with the same pitch, and Holiday hit it for the 2-run double.
Descalso lays down a bunt. Ryan's got to hurry, and just got him.
Good play by McCann. But you had those 2 mistakes in the first, and then the real mistake to me was the 0-2 pitch to Berkman that allowed the 3rd run in. And he made that mistake up with a fastball on an 0-2 count.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I think if there's one glaring thing in that first inning, aside from location, it was his inability to put guys away. He had guys in a position to put them away, and he wasn't able to do it. Like I said, Punto, good at bat. With Holiday, he threw that front door slider for strike 2 and then tried to throw it again for strike 3 and didn't get it there. Berkman tried to go outside the zone and left it up. I mean, you're absolutely right. He's done a better job of that second time through the lineup. And that happens. I mean, as much as you're in a hurry to get out there and get strike 1, sometimes you get in a hurry to put guys away instead of just, kind of being patient and following the process. You get in a hurry to try and put the guy away, and then you make a bad pitch.
1 ball, 1 strike to Cardinal outfielder Colby Rasmus. 1 for 2 of the runs scored. I'm sure you guys mentioned on Friday that his brother pitches for the Braves in the minor leagues, Corey.
It was a high draft pick.
He was the 38th overall pick in the June free agent draft in 2006. Baseball America said that Corey had the best curveball in the Braves system. Pitched at Rome and Myrtle Beach last year. We'll find out from the truck where Corey's pitching in 2011.
I like Colby. I like how he goes about the game. I like how he approaches his at-bats. And certainly very athletic out there in center field.
Yeah, I watch him a lot in center. Naturally, I keep an eye on things like that. But I really like the way he runs, too. He's a good base runner. He's got 3 stolen bases this year, and he hasn't, so far in his first 2 years, racked up a huge number yet. But I think he's capable of 25, or if not more.
Cardinals have run some good center fielders at you the last 20 years or so, haven't they?
Couple.
Yeah, Kirk Flood doesn't get enough recognition for being one of the all-time great center fielders, but he was. That's going back a few years, but he was outstanding.
They had Willie McGee out there, Jim Edmonds in recent years. Not surprising. The Cardinal team with Tony La Russa stay strong up the middle. Gold glove catcher, gold glove caliber center fielders. Maybe Colby Rasmus will win one someday as well for St. Louis. 3 ball, 2 strike count. Second walk. 2 more on for Albert Pujols.
That would have been a nice out. Because I know Pujols is struggling. Derek just left that one out there. That was not painting the corners for Sherwin-Williams. That was a little too far out. But knowing that you had first base open, you could, and Pujols struggling, you maybe get him to expand his zone a little bit, not have to throw him a strike.
Yeah, you have to approach this much differently now, like you say, without the base open. But either way, I think Derek, this is the guy. Between the 2 of these guys, you probably would go after with the history that Holiday's had against him.
Hot shot up the middle on the first pitch. Garcia around third will score without a play. It's 4-0. $19 RBIs for Pujols. now Dave Wallace, the acting pitching coach, to the mound.
Yeah, it was one that kind of backed up on him, didn't he?
Backed up and a little bit higher than he wanted. He got the ground ball that he wanted, but if that ball's down a little bit, I think that's he rolls over on that a little bit more and then has more of a chance of being at Alex where he can turn a double play on it.
Scott Linebrink loosening up in the Atlanta pen.
And now Holiday's up with 2 more on. He's reached twice. Lowe got the ground ball off the bat of Pujols, but it was smoked up the middle.
This is in the happy zone that we talked about earlier too for these guys with their run scoring. 4th, 5th, and 6th innings have been their most productive innings of the year.
Deep short. Dan will try to turn it. Dave Wallace had the right tonic. Holiday doubled up for just the 2nd time, and the Cardinals settle for 1 in the top of the 5th. And as part of our Fox Sports Supports charitable initiative, we're proud to wear these pins during our 2011 MLB games on Fox Sports South. We support Stand Up to Cancer and their work to fund groundbreaking research that helps accelerate treatment to patients. For more information, please visit standuptocancer.org/Fox Sports. Twelve up, 12 down for Jaime Garcia, McCann, Ugla, and Gonzalez. The 4, 5, and 6 hitters due up for the Braves.
I'd say he's getting it spread out pretty good here. 4 fly balls, 4 ground outs, 4 strikeouts. And again, he is 4th in the National League in ground ball efficiency. Better than 3 to 1.
A lot of 4s there.
Mm-hmm.
But the only 4 he cares about is a chance to go 4-0.
He's got a perfect game going right now. Somebody needs to remind me of that.
Perfecto.
Every now and then,
Perfecto.
there's a fan at the ballpark that somehow cuts through the fog of the game in a quiet moment. And it gets broken up.
There we go.
Don't you love it, fellas, when they follow the script?
Yes.
I've always wanted to ask this question. Tommy, cruising along like Garcia or any pitcher is, you're in the 5th inning before you go to the stretch for the first time. How big an adjustment is that?
Nah, I don't think it's all that big a deal. Look, I mean, you practice it enough. You know, it might take a pitch or two to kind of get into the sequence of it and dealing with a base runner. But, you know, I think in this case it's not that big a deal because Brian, typically speaking, is not a threat to run. If it's a guy who's going to run, now you got to get into the flow of managing the running game a little bit, managing the hitter at the plate, and combining those two worlds. But right here, I think all he's worried about is making pitches. He's not worried about Brian running.
Foul at third. Ball and a strike to Dan Uggla. But from a hitter's perspective, Joe, does this get your bats going? Get a little fire on that bench a little bit?
Absolutely. When you get that first knock off a guy who's been cruising through the order, and especially when it's the leadoff man in an inning, feel like maybe you got something going and can cut into this lead.
Again, as good as the Cardinals' pen has been in this series, for the year it has not been particularly good. To Berkman and right.
We'll carry to that one. By and large, all season long, teams are pitching Dan away. He has a big bottom hand swing that once he gets it started, top hand comes off, so he likes to get extended. He loves the ball middle of the plate in, but everybody's pitching him away and making him provide the power away. Once in a while, when they try to come inside, if they leave that breaking ball over the middle in, he kills it. But that's part of why he's hitting under 200, is that he's just not getting anything to hit middle in. They're going to make him make some adjustments. He's now 3 for 30 against left-handed pitchers.
On ball, no strikes to Alex Gonzalez. He bounced out to third his first time up. High fly ball, whacked deep left. Braves on the board. Man, did that sound solid at contact.
Coors Light cold hard blast. It's just that. That was something middle in and up.
But you try to go that sinker down and away and didn't get it there.
Yeah, launch. And I don't know what Alex said to somebody in the dugout or who he said it to, but you see him looking back in the dugout like, told you I was going to get him. Something to that effect.
So his fourth home run of the year cuts the Cardinal lead in half now. It's a 4-2 game. And a lot of baseball left at Turner Field, obviously. One out, base is clear.
Nice to see somebody on base for a homer. For a change, too.
That's the 30th homer hit by the Braves this year. 22 of the 30 have been solos. Mentioned Mather, a former Cardinal, just wasn't able to stay healthy to have an extended run in St. Louis.
A hand and wrist injury that really has waylaid him the last couple of years.
He had the hook of the hamate surgery in 2008. Same surgery that Pablo Sandoval is going to have for the Giants. Missed that. Sandoval broke that bone. He'll be lost for 4 to 6 weeks.
Jaime Garcia kind of mirroring the Cardinals offense like we've talked about, where the middle innings is where their offense has really done the damage. The middle innings is where Jaime's really had the damage done against him. Fourth, fifth, and sixth inning is where he's given up the bulk of his runs so far this year.
go to the stretch again for Nate McLouth.
Funny how that leadoff single and then the homer especially caused him to have a little issue there. Not as easy to throw it to the corner as it was.
Braves fans chopping away at home. Chance to tie the game as we enjoy an energy-saving tip from Georgia Power. Turn off the lights and the radios when you leave a room. Don't ever turn off the TV when Braves baseball is on. For more energy-saving tips, visit GeorgiaPower.com.
Especially on a Sunday.
Especially.
Well, he talked about the Braves not having a whole lot of luck against Garcia collectively. And McLouth has had a hit against him.
You see that graphic there. Middle innings, 3.65 ERA, and like I said, where the bulk of the damage has been done against him. And the Braves certainly are following and adding to that trend.
Nate has a homer in the series.
He had a great at bat against Trevor Miller on Friday night in the 11th inning too, with a runner aboard, and Nate was the tying run, potential tying run. Had a great at bat and sent Holiday to the wall in left center, and if Holiday hadn't been playing deep to avoid extra bases, that would have been an extra base hit.
Bottom fell out of that pitch. Look at the splits for Garcia. Righties have done almost nothing against this guy, but it's the left-handed batters that have really worn him out. Right-hand batters hitting .202, lefties .364.
I wonder if that's because of the sampling. Maybe teams load up with right-handers against him, like they used to do with Tom Glavine.
Yeah, I think sometimes those numbers can be a little bit skewed because you're not getting as many at-bats versus left-handers. But also, you know, the other thing you got to look at, I think in seeing him facing right-handed hitters, that sinker is his kind of go-to pitch. And against the lefties, it's not, you know, I'm not saying he doesn't throw it, but generally when you're trying to get it on that other side of the plate, it doesn't sink as much.
Broken bat and a base hit. Mather around second. He'll make third with one out. The stretch has not been kind indeed to Garcia in the fifth. The Braves have the tying runners aboard with one out.
There was a scary broken bat to it. Got Albert Pujols' attention right away and sailed over the top of Terry Pendleton's head. Another good at bat though for Nate. Chance for Brandon Hicks to get his first big league hit in timely fashion here.
He'll take the place of Derek Lowe.
Derek was frustrated leaving the mound at the end of the top half of the fifth inning. Had some words with Ted Barrett. He'd been called out on strikes himself back in the third inning on what he thought was a high pitch, and then he didn't get the same pitch in the top of the fifth against Rasmus.
Line drive, there's that first hit. It's a run-scoring blast from Hicks. First and third, 4-3. Atta baby, Brandon.
There have been a lot of times he'd love to have gotten this behind him and say he got his first hit, but if he's going to get it with runners on base better today than any other at bat he's had. Trying to get it, dig out of a hole, and now the Braves are only down a run. Solid single for Brandon Hicks, his first big league hit.
3 across in the 5th. Here's Prado.
I think this is great. I mean, I know he took a hit away from him on the swinging bunt last time up, but I think it's great that they got Freese playing in tight because Martin pulls the ball on the ground so much. Pull one by him.
1 ball, 1 strike. We'll take a long look at Brian Snitker. Goes through the signs in the 5th. He'll go through them with us in the 7th for our Sunday school feature. The art of coaching third base, the subject today.
Derek Lowe had to throw 29 pitches to get through the first inning. 25 now so far for Garcia in the 5th.
Look at Molina. 2 balls and a strike.
This is a great spot for Martin. Freese is backed up now. He knows he's not going to bunt on the 3-1 count. But he's got a pretty sizable hole on the left side, and Pujols holding Hicks on at first. As good as Martin handles the bat, he can kind of look for a pitch in a certain spot and take his choice.
Double play ball. That wasn't his choice. But the Braves strike for 3 runs in the 5th inning. Alex Gonzalez hits a 2-run homer. And Brandon Hicks' first big league hit is an RBI single. And it's a new game. 4-3 to score. On Fox Sports South is brought to you in part by Sherwin-Williams, by the Georgia Lottery, by Academy Sports and Outdoors, by Joel and Associates, and by Acura. Well, as my friend to my right says all the time, we got a Waco.
Good one.
4-3 as we head to the 6th inning. Welcome you back to Sunday Braves on Fox Sports South, brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers, Joe, Tom, and Chip, and our great Fox Sports crew. Happy May 1st, everybody. Hopefully a better month ahead for the Braves. As Scott Linebrink answers the AT&T call to the bullpen, he'll face the middle of the Cardinal order. First pitch. is a line drive to right. Two hits for Berkman.
Scott Linebrink, he's in his first game of this series. Last appeared on the 25th at San Diego. Third of an inning, a hit. Like to get that ERA down. A lot of strikeouts in innings pitched, though, and he really just had a huge break thanks to the athleticism of Jason Hayward on a ball that took a funny hop on Jason. Could have rolled all the way to the wall.
And here's a spot, too, Tom, where you really want to shut down inning.
Yeah, you really do. I mean, it's all the momentum is on the Braves side right now. They crawled their way back into this thing, and you know, this could very well be the most important inning of the game if the Braves are going to come back and win this thing.
Freese had a good cut. Freese not always a St. Louis Cardinal. San Diego wanted a center fielder for the 2008 season. Cardinals traded him Jim Edmonds to get David. Now he's behind 0-2.
That sounded bad. That sounded like bat, and it wasn't bat. Right on the back of the left hand, it looked like.
And the trainer comes out with the old freeze spray.
You don't see freeze spray much anymore.
Not much anymore. I don't know how much that's going to help that, though.
He's a big guy. He's a lot bigger than I remembered him being. He's 6'2", 220. He's not quite Scott Rowland size, but big third baseman.
Mentioned earlier, hand injuries have been big problems for players in the big leagues. Mentioned Pablo Sandoval. How about the Nationals? Now will be without Zimmerman even longer, fellas.
That's a huge blow to their lineup. And Andre Ethier just keeps on hitting.
Keeps on swinging it.
Barry Weinberg, the Cardinal trainer, out there with Tony La Russa. Freeze not quite ready to go yet. As Linebrink's come on, allowed a single and a hit batsman. And these are the innings, fellas, where the absence of Peter Moylan is starting to become a much more glaring omission for the Braves bullpen. Peter's still out with that bad back. On the road trip, Joe, Chipper had said the seventh inning may be the most important inning the Braves play all year, every day.
Yeah, I think it's because he's the perfect setup guy for Venners and Kimbrel or whoever was closing, whether it was last year with Billy Wagner. And these might just be coincidental numbers, but they're facts that things have been a little disrupted since Peter's been out.
I don't think there's any question that him being out has been a disruption to the bullpen. I mean, he does a great job. And again, it's like we talked about Friday night. You know, you don't know necessarily what you have until it's gone. And Peter is so versatile in that role, whether it be coming in a situation like this with runners on base or starting an inning clean. He's able to do so many things for you. And, you know, generally speaking, he comes out and throws strikes and doesn't beat himself. So that's a big asset to have. And again, when you domino effect that and start putting guys in different roles, you don't know how it's going to play out.
First pitch, pop up, shallow right, Molina. Hayward coming on, can't get there. He'll fire to second, but too high. And the Cardinals have loaded the bases with nobody out.
Just a perfect Ric Flair to right.
Boo.
off the end of the bat.
Thought they were going to catch a break right there with Jason making some closing ground on that, but throw was just a little bit high and wasn't able to get the out at second.
So just as you were suggesting, Chip, that shutdown inning is going to be tough to come by here now.
Ryan Theriot 0 for 2 today. Pitcher spot due next. 4-3. Braves down a run.
You see Sherrill loosening up in the pen. Might be somebody else joining him.
Coming home. There's one. There's two.
Boy, Chipper really wanted to turn around and step on third too because he was so close. But he did the right thing.
One step closer.
Got to cut that run down.
So Berkman forced at the plate. Freeze to third. Molina to second. 2 outs now. And Linebrink will be taken down with the pitcher coming up. 4-3. Can the Braves wiggle out of 6th inning trouble? We'll find out in a moment. Is brought to you in part by Sonic, by AT&T Ubers, by Geico, by Toyota, and by Georgia Power. Scott Linebrink taken down. Cardinals have runners second and third, 2 outs now. The pitcher is due up, and the AT&T call to the bullpen will feature left-hander George Sherrill.
He's been in all 3 of these games after really not pitching much. In fact, only 1 game on the road trip. Third of an inning the first time, 2/3 last night. No hits or runs. 1 walk, 1 strikeout.
Garcia picked up his first hit, his first time up. I beg your pardon, his last time up for the Cardinals. Also scored what has proved to be the lead run.
We talked last inning, Chip, and asked if that base hit by McCann might stir up the dugout and get them fired up. Well, you get out of this inning, there's going to be even more fire and more momentum in the dugout.
1 more strike to get. How many times do you see it? A team loads the bases and doesn't score, the other team does.
See it a lot.
See you later. Linebrink and Sherrill get out of the 6th. Bottom half of the frame. Jason Hayward, Chipper Jones, Brian McCann coming up in a 1-run game.
Coors Light freeze can. Oh, train. How about this sweet swing from Brandon Hicks? First big league hit. Got a high fastball. Stayed back, leveled off, and drove in a run with it. Great swing there. It's our Coors Light freeze can brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Of course, anytime there's a celebration, you're going to see Chris Medlin bouncing around in that dugout somewhere.
I'll bet he finally, not that he hasn't been, but you finally feel like a big leaguer, don't you?
Absolutely. And to contribute that way, to drive in a run at a key spot, it's wonderful.
So the Braves have their 2, 3, and 4 hitters coming up. Maybe they've rattled the confidence of Garcia a bit. Tagged him for 3 runs last time. Redbirds loaded him. Did not score. And Hayward will start it off. Another change for the Cardinals now. Green's going to come in and play second. So I wonder if something happened to Descalso.
He's at third.
He's at third.
And they took
to freeze out. There you go. Thank you, Joe. Saw enough of Descalso at third in this series, frankly.
Mm-hmm.
Quickly, 0-2 to Hayward.
Tyler Green, former captain at Georgia Tech, and was actually out of high school, a 2nd-round pick by the Braves, but didn't sign and chose to go to Georgia Tech instead.
First strikeout since the 3rd inning for Garcia, and it's his 5th of the day. Fox Sports proud to bring you exclusive coverage of the UEFA Champions League semifinals, beginning on Tuesday with one of the world's great sports rivalries. Barcelona will battle Real Madrid on Fox Soccer. Wednesday, Manchester United takes on Schalke on FX. Coverage of both games starts at 2 Eastern, 11 Pacific, high definition. Got to be careful when you say that, UEFA.
You're professional.
Here's Chipper. He's 0 for 2.
Chipper doing that twice today. Struck out in the 1st inning. That same pitch, same swing. They often fool him like this.
No, that's what you want him to do, but you got to do it very often.
Two and 2. Chipper's had it working from the right side from the opening bell this year. To center. And 2 out.
A lot of people were wondering if Chipper would be able to bounce back at his age after knee surgery, but Tom, I'd say his number's pretty good.
Yeah, I would say he's answered those questions, and I'm not surprised. Look, I think an athlete in general, but certainly an athlete of Chipper's quality and pedigree, if he's challenged and he's got something to prove, then there's no better motivation. And you know, I think Chipper felt good about how he was swinging the bat before he got hurt last year and wanted to continue.
21 RBIs in the month. That's outstanding.
In fact, at one point on the road trip, I'm not sure if it's still the case, Chipper was the oldest player in baseball to lead his team in RBIs.
So that's, you know, he's starting to get to that stage of his career. He's the oldest this and he's the oldest that.
Remember those days fondly, do you, Tommy?
I can't tell you how many times my last couple of years. So-and-so matchup today with Glavin and so-and-so is the oldest two lefties in the history of the game, or the second oldest. It's like, come on already.
I always like the one, this guy was only in the 3rd grade when Tom made his debut.
Just missed. 2-2.
Painting the corners for Sherwin-Williams. Garcia tried. Looked like he got it, too.
Yeah.
Maybe he missed the target so far that Ted Barrett didn't want to give it to him.
He tried to sell it walking off the mound a little bit, but I don't know if that was a curveball or an Ephus changeup. I don't know what it was.
Looked like it backed up almost. A curveball that backed up. Maybe the wind got it.
2-2.
By the way, Brian McCann did his best David Justice impersonation there.
Yes, he did. The only thing he was missing right there was an Andrew Jones self-check of the umpire at third base.
Right.
3 up, 3 down. Garcia with 6 strikeouts. Heading to the 7th. Good ball game in Atlanta.
Middle half of the 7th inning has to do with third base coach Brian Snitker. A little taste of it had to do with scouting reports needing to know about outfielders' arms when you're trying to send a runner.
Absolutely. We get reports from our advanced scout prior to every series, and we have Smith has a system in the clubhouse that I can actually watch guys throw. So I'll go in first day of a series and even over the course of the series, and I can actually watch all the plays that the guys have made over the course of the year.
Don't even really think about those things in terms of scouting reports, but that's something Brian Snitker needs to know, and we'll talk more about that in the middle of the 7th inning on Sunday School about the duties of a third base coach.
Another way, fellas, the game has really changed. You can go watch video instead of watching teams take infield and outfield practice.
Yep.
Yeah, which you don't get to see much of anymore, the infield-outfield part of it.
New pitcher on for the Braves. Descalso in for the Cardinals at the plate. And the AT&T call to the bullpen will feature Eric O'Flaherty, the 4th Braves pitcher to work today.
He gave up a run at San Diego on the 25th, but runs off Eric have been few and far between. I believe it was Chipper that was praising Eric and his work recently. We was talking about how he can come in and get lefties and righties out. Doesn't matter.
off the handle. And look at Alex work. Quick release, one out.
Smooth, smooth, smooth. Leading the world in fielding percentage. He's only made one error this year. And knew he had to get rid of it quickly because the ball was hit so slow.
Can't think of a better defensive shortstop in our league. Now, we haven't seen the whole league. The way he's playing, you can make that case.
I agree.
Here's Rasmus. Mentioned Colby's brother Corey is pitching for the Braves at Lynchburg this year. That's high A ball.
They won last night 4-0. Speaking of the minor leagues, Gwinnett beat Scranton last night 4-1, and Julio Teheran pitched another great ball game. 6 innings, gave up only 1 run, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. He's now 3-0 with a 1.80 ERA.
They got some arms down there. Teheran and Lopez. Mike Minor, I think, leads the team in strikeouts at AAA.
If you're a Braves fan and you want to get a jump on some of the guys that are going to be here in the near future, go watch some of those guys pitch when the Braves are out of town, of course. They got some real good arms over there.
You go to Rome and do the same thing. They got a great ballpark up there at Rome. Oh,
Eric wanted it. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
That's that pitch Derek Lowe complained that he didn't get, that he got called out on too. That high fastball to that side of the plate.
Just seems like that has to cross the plate from where he's delivering it from and where Brian's catching it.
Got him with the next pitch, though. And 2 outs in front of Albert Pujols. Stop by or call the Braves Clubhouse store at CNN Center for Braves Country t-shirts, player t-shirts, caps, game-used collectibles, and a whole lot more. The Braves Clubhouse store at CNN Center, 404-523-5854. They've outfitted the Braves. They can do the same for you.
I like the fact that Eric has a lot of confidence in his fastball, and it's a good one, has excellent life to it. But I like it when he's facing a left-hander, he doesn't feel like he's got to trick him, that he can still use the heater to get him.
Yeah, no, he comes right at him still.
His fastball in the low 90s. After this game, everybody in Braves country will become gigantic Cardinal fans. They go home to play the Marlins.
I thought you were going to say they're going to become big Celtics fans because they're playing the Heat later.
Oh, well. That goes without saying, Tommy. Come on. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Another fastball.
And then the hook. Chipper said the 7th was an important inning. Maybe this one will be too, as we'll be joined by Brian Snitker on Sunday School next.
Let's first start with giving signs, indicators, and things like that once you get it from Freddie.
All right. Well, yeah, we start off actually in spring training. I mean, we have a meeting with all the players, the pitchers included, and I go over my signs. You know, it's something that I try to make them so simple that you can't pick them up. You know, and because we want our guys to get them, but you know, we don't want the other team to pick them up in certain situations, and so I got to try and, you know, and vary things, keep it simple. First of all, we'll have my signs, which would be like a bunt, squeeze, hit and run, steal. Try to keep the bunts up here, up top, and the running ones down on the legs. Bunt, squeeze, hit and run, steal. Indicator could be right hand to my left arm. So I can do anything, and I can start out doing signs, but after I touch that right or the left arm, the next sign after I touch is going to be the sign that's going to be on, and that I give the hitter and the guy at first base simultaneously.
Obviously, one of the hardest jobs you have is knowing when to make the judgment to send a runner home to try to score or when to hold them up. Would you say that that's the hardest part for you?
Yeah, that's the hardest part, and just kind of slowing the game down and not getting caught up in the action and the score and all that, and just you just really have to take your time and let the play happen, and then just kind of lose your instinct. I try to tell myself, just clear your mind and, you know, and trust your instinct. So, you know, and it's going to depend on the base runner, score of the game, who's on deck, how many outs there are. There's a whole lot of variables that are going to go in the predetermination prior to that ball being pitched that I got to concern myself with.
And hopefully, fellas, Brian will be busy over the final 3 innings of this game with the Braves down by a 4-3 score.
Let's hope he is. Let's hope they get some another leadoff man on, which seemed to be the trick when they put that 3 spot on the board in the 5th.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I'd be okay with him making it real easy, too, where we get another long ball or two here, and he can just shake the guy's hands as they go around third base. That'd be okay, too.
Love the Sunday school features. Appreciate Brian's help with that. David Ross joined us a little while ago as well. And there is an awful lot more to that job than just standing around and shaking hands with teammates.
And you got to anticipate so much. You've got to be ready, like he said, with how many outs there are, who the outfielders are, where they're playing, and who your base runners are, if they're going to be able to score on a clean single type play. I remember Skip always said this, that in his opinion, you're not really a good third base coach unless you're getting some guys thrown out at the plate once in a while.
But he said it.
You're not really a good third base coach.
It's more like that.
And 0-2 to second baseman Dan Ugla. Here's our Delta Airlines on deck hitter. Alex touched him up once. He's had a good last 7-game run at Turner Field.
If you're kind of a singles type hitter and teams are pitching you like they're pitching Dan, trying to keep the ball away from you, and you say, okay, well, I'm going to move up on the plate and try to take that away from him. Well, the next thing you know, they're going to be busting you inside real hard. You can't handle it. Dan Ugla's not that type hitter. He's a guy that, to me, if you're a pitcher and he moves up on the plate on you, you're still going to be a little reluctant to go middle in.
Well, you are, because you know that's where he wants the ball. Number one, you know that. That's where he's doing his damage, is pulling the ball. So, you know, sometimes hitters will do that. They'll move up on the plate to lull the pitcher into thinking, well, he doesn't want the ball in there. He's trying to cover the outside part of the plate.
Coming in here. Just for show, though.
Just for show, which, you know, you have to do. And I'd be curious to talk to Dan because, look, this is not a new scouting report on him. I mean, you're trying to get him out of the way. If you'd rather give up a single to right than a home run, and you're keeping him honest in.
Got the arms extended that time and drives that to center and deep, and it's going to bounce off the top of the fence, and it's a double.
Holy smokes. You know, the last time we had a play like this, Tim McClellan was here at this ballpark when Brian McCann hit one out for a walk-off, and they had to review it. There is a platform right behind where that ball hit, and Freddie Gonzalez wants to know from Tim McClellan if it possibly could have hit that.
The yellow line is merely a border. It is not a home run if it hits the yellow line.
That looked like yellow line, didn't it?
Looked like it hit right on top of it, and unfortunately came back in. Yep.
What a bad break.
But it will chase Jaime Garcia from this game. Ungla thought it was a homer.
Well,
But
sure
it
did.
bounced back onto the field of play. And we will indeed go to break. We'll let you know if the umpires review it. Excitement in Atlanta here in the 7th inning. Base. And here comes Tim McClelland. And it is indeed apparently a 2-base hit.
But they did take a look at it, and we've been watching the replays during the commercial and watch the ball kind of crater the yellow line there. See the pad kind of, there's like an indentation. It didn't hit the pad and go over and then come back. It definitely hit on the front corner and came back.
Yeah, sometimes you just don't, you don't. It's hard to tell if it hits that thing and goes and continues on, and then caroms off something like the home run that Brian McCann hit last year. But like clearly, where that hit on the front portion of that yellow line, it couldn't continue back and hit anything. And the way it bounded back so softly onto the field, I think, lended itself to hit nothing but padding.
And it won't make any difference if the Braves can do what they need to do, and that's get him over and get him in.
They have chased Garcia. Now look at converted catcher Jason Mott, who's in to relieve for St. Louis. Mott is another big dude with a big arm.
Well, he worked 2/3 of an inning Friday night, walked the first batter he faced, then struck out the next 2. Strikeout per inning, but he's also walked 5.
Alex ignited Turner Field with 1 out in the 5th inning. As Garcia cruised along and retired 12 in a row. McCann aboard. That shot made it a 2-run game.
That was one of the few mistakes that Garcia had made up to that point in time, and Alex made him pay for it and got the Braves right back in the game.
Whew, that's getting the bat back in time. Just in time. Follow that one right back into Molina's glove.
Bunt popped up, and Pujols can't get it. Boy, there's a break. Albert upset with himself.
Just out of his reach.
Yeah, he was coming in and kind of leaning a little bit towards the mound, kind of looking for the bunt in fair territory, and just couldn't quite get back that extra little bit.
Alex probably swinging away now, see if he can hit one to the right side.
He did. And that's off Pujols. It's into shallow right center, and the Braves are going to tie the game. You play the game right, and good things are supposed to happen, and they just did for Atlanta.
That's already the 4th error of the year on the Cardinals' first baseman. And Alex did hit this ball sharply. It wasn't even a strike, but he's playing in because they want to still prevent Uggla from advancing to third, and by playing in, he couldn't handle that hot shot.
And how many times do you see that where a guy doesn't get the bunt down, and then you let him swing away and you end up in a better position than you were when you were trying to get the bunt down.
Only the 6th error total by Braves opponents on the year.
So here's Mather. Shows bunt. No decision for Garcia. No decision for Derek Lowe. New life. 4-4, 7th inning. He's going to go to second. There's one, and that's all they get. You talk about throwing a fastball to second. Mott forces Gonzalez.
Mather's first at bat when he got called up was he was asked to bunt and struck out trying to bunt. And this time bunted that one a little too hard back to Mott. Hard to soften that 92-93 fastball.
Mott with his catching background used to making that throw.
Yep.
Made the conversion to catcher in 2006. Jason Mott, who was the 575th player taken in the 2003 draft.
There's some gems down there that you just dig. Mike Piazza could commiserate with that, I think.
Into left. And 2 men are retired. Eric Hinsky will bat. Eric at .269 for the year, 2 for 12 with a pinch hit home run.
Well, we know how Eric can turn a fastball around. Maybe Mott will oblige and give him one in his zone.
Well, he did beat him on that one, but
he did. Tied him up a little bit.
maybe he'll try again.
Eric was the subject of our Sunday school discussion a couple of weeks ago with regard to his preparation to pinch hitting and how he starts looking ahead beginning as early as the 5th inning to possible pitching matchups or situations as to when the Braves pitcher might be coming up, knowing he might be a possible guy that Freddie Gonzalez would call on. So you know he's ready, and he knows something about Mott when he went up there.
Yeah, those guys put in a lot of preparation. I mean, they're not just sitting there. They're going in. They know the potential matchups. They're running up and down to the batting cage between innings, getting swings in, staying loose. But having said all that, it is still a tough job.
I would imagine it's even tougher facing a team like the Cardinals, where they don't really know who their 9th inning, 8th inning, or 7th inning guy is going to be on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, in this case, yeah, you've got 4 or 5 guys you got to be familiar with and prepare for, because you don't know who you're going to get. Versus a lot of, like you say, where if it's a 7th inning or lefty-lefty matchups or whatever, you got a little bit better idea.
Little looper, that's going to drop. And Mather on his way to third will stop there. A pinch hit single for Eric Hinske. And a chance for Martin Prado to provide a redeemer.
You never know how this might have turned out, but I thought Terrio gave up on that ball really early in terms of when it hit the ground. If he goes and hustles out after that, it's not that far from him. He might have prevented Mather from going to third base. And I know that Holiday's got the momentum coming in, but he had a long way to go to get to the ball.
You're right, and Holiday really wasn't coming after that ball very hard either. I was thinking the same thing, but watching it from the perspective of watching Holiday, he didn't seem to get a very good jump on that ball at all.
First and third, 2 outs. Garcia got Martin to hit into a double play that ended the Braves' 5th. Not before Atlanta scored 3 times that inning.
This guy's fastball's on you so fast because he's still kind of got that catcher's arm action. It's a short arm action, and it just explodes out of his hand.
Well, as the catcher in the Florida State League, 62 assists for Mott, but 13 passed balls for Mott.
I don't think it happens with Molina, but fastball here would be kind of nice.
Yeah. 2-0 count.
They've got Trevor Miller loosening up in their pen. If Prado reaches, we might see him work to Hayward. But let's see if Martin gets a green light here.
He's a good bad ball hitter, too. Big hole right side and a 3-0 count. Base hit, right field. Braves have the lead.
You know that's going to make Martin feel good after hitting into that double play with runners at first and third in the 5th inning. Here he drives in the go-ahead run. And I like the fact that he didn't try to do too much with a 3-1 pitch.
No, 3-1 pitch, certainly a hitter's count, but you're right. Martin went up there, or went after that pitch with no other intention, and just see the ball and hit it hard and try and drive that run in, and not try to get too carried away because he was in the driver's seat and try and drive something.
Braves now 2 for 4 with runners in scoring position. Haven't had that many opportunities today, especially after Jaime Garcia was perfect through 4 innings, but they're making the most of their chances today.
And right now, that's the way you try to beat the Cardinals. Get their starters out and feast on the pen. 8 blown saves, most in the league. And now Hayward hits 0 for 3. Jason riding an 8-game hitting streak, and this is where he really shines.
I'm really surprised that the Cardinals didn't make that switch to Trevor Miller right here in this situation.
Me too.
This is where you're seeing a little bit of the inexperience in a pitcher right here. Is you got this situation, and the biggest tendency, the biggest mistakes guys make in this situation is they get to want to throw the ball too hard and overpower the ball instead of slowing everything down. And with Martin, a simple little thing like we talked, it might not seem like a big thing, but allowing that guy to get from second to third, I wonder how much in Mott's mind that took away the breaking ball from his possibilities, because he didn't have the confidence and didn't want to bounce one and have the run score that way.
That's a real good point, Tom, and it's just one of those little things that happen in a game that doesn't look like much, and it didn't look like Terrio made a bad play because the ball dropped for a base hit, but it was the first thing I noticed, that he just kind of quit running after it, and he wasn't that far from him, especially with a runner at first when the ball was hit.
3-1 count, and Pujols handles that hot smash, and that retires the side. Well, the 7th inning indeed proves to be the most important inning today. Dan Uggla hit one off the top of the fence. He scored the game-tying run, and Joe Mather came home on a Martin Prado hit. And after 7, Braves lead the Cardinals again late, this time by a 5-4 score. Is your score. And friends, as you know, the recent storms have devastated cities and towns all across Braves country. Fox Sports South and Sports South care for our community, and we're asking you to support the American Red Cross and its disaster relief efforts. So please click, text, or call today. Cardinals led early 4-0. Braves have scored 5 unanswered runs.
Added some A's to that row of highlights too.
But as Yogi Berra would have said, it's deja vu all over again for the Braves. They've led late in each of the first 2 games of the series, and again today in the wrap-up.
Yeah, in fact, it's kind of a low mark, but first time they've lost 2 games back-to-back when they led into the 8th inning since '97.
Long run, diving try. McLeod can't get there. And Matt Holliday doubles, leading off the Cardinals' 8th. Corey Guerin, the AT&T call to the bullpen, greeted rudely by the Cardinal left fielder.
It seems to be the leadoff guy that keeps getting things going. Braves can't get that leadoff guy out late.
Well, look, the game's funny. How many times have you seen a defensive replacement put in the game, and then boom, right away there's a tough play for that guy. And here's a similar situation with the bullpen. We've talked about their struggles. They know their struggles, and rather than have a game where it's not tight and everything's coming down to the bullpen again, boom, here we go. These guys are right back in the mix. And the game has a way of making those things come out and be relevant. And for these guys, they've just got to just settle down, get over whatever everybody's talking about, and just get back to trusting the fact that they're good. They got the talent, and they just have to go out there and trust that talent.
Lance Berkman's 2 out of 3 today with an RBI. And he hits the ball to the right side. Good pickup by Mather. And a good at bat for the Cardinal right fielder. Runner at third, 1 out.
It's a good thing, too, because Guerin didn't cover. Corey would have lost that foot race, I think, with Berkman because he was late responding. And Mather had to hustle to the bag.
Tyler Green's the next man scheduled, but he's headed back to the Cardinal dugout. Let's see who pops out for St. Louis. And we invite you to celebrate your birthday here at Turner Field for free. Register at Braves.com/birthday. Get free companion admission to 1 game this year to see the Braves. It's our present to you and your family. Go to Braves.com/birthday today. And it'll be John Jay.
They've gone through some infielders today. By pinch hitting for Green here, they lose another one.
Well, this will be an interesting matchup. Watching Jay and his approach and his stance. I think clearly he wants the ball, like most lefties do, down and in. But with his approach, I think it's even more so. And with Guerin, well, we're not going to find out because they're going to put him on.
Whoa.
And that was close.
Yo.
But I think that's going to be the one thing for Guerin going forward is with the fastball and his breaking ball the way it is, coming down and in on a left-handed hitter, that's going to be a dangerous pitch for him. He's going to have to continue to work on trying to have something off speed that's going to go away from the left-handed hitters.
One more, and it sets up a double play chance with the Cardinal catcher, Yadier Molina.
I'm looking at their roster. I'm trying to figure out who I'm missing because I don't see any more infielders on their roster. They got Gerald Laird still left, the backup catcher.
Mark Hamilton.
Hamilton's a first baseman.
Well,
maybe they could stick him at third and move Descalso back to second.
I was going to say, as versatile as their backup guys tend to be, there's got to be somebody else in there other than Pujols. I don't think he's moving.
Here's where you hope the ground ball's in play. Cardinals hit into a lot of double plays. They've done it twice. Once in the 5th, once in the 6th. And Molina ahead in the count.
Like you said a few minutes ago, Tom, you got to trust your stuff here and know what works for you. If you're Corey Guerin, you don't need to start trying to change anything or reinvent yourself.
Popped up. Jason battling the sun. Comes charging in. There's the grab. Runner tags. Throw to the plate. Off target. Molina ties the game with a sac fly. And good base running by Jay. He moves to second on the play with 2 out.
Jason did everything right. He came to the ball, caught the ball over his throwing shoulder, but his throw tailed on him. And that's what allowed Holiday to get in there. He was going to be a dead duck at the plate if this is anywhere close to being on the money. You can see how it was tailing away from him.
Be careful with Terrio. He is getting an enormous lead at second base with 2 outs. 5-5 game.
That was one of those situations for Akindo that Brian Snitker talked about, where so many factors come in. Typically, you don't run on Jason, but with 2 outs or 1 out late in the game, you don't want to have to rely on a 2-out base hit to tie it. So you take that chance right there.
Braves order due up in the bottom of this 8th. One more strike. And we'll head there in Atlanta.
Signs, maybe? What do you think?
Could be. Maybe they saw something that Jay might have been giving pitches or location out there. You know, they're not holding him close. You still got to pay attention to him. You don't want him just getting a huge secondary lead to where he scores easily on a base hit.
Paints the corner, and Terrio caught looking. Cardinals tie it on a sacrifice fly. Chipper Jones and the heart of the Braves order coming up in another tie game. 5-5, bottom of the 8th. As we head to the home half of the 8th inning. Here are the Cardinal changes. No, Albert Pujols is not out of the game. Mark Hamilton's at first. Descalso moves to second for the Cardinals. And look at who's back at third base for the Redbirds.
Just like I was saying, they aren't going to move him off at first.
You know, he signed as a shortstop.
Well, yeah, that must have been 30 pounds ago.
Yeah.
He's an awful big boy now. I can't imagine what he must have looked like if he was drafted as a shortstop. He must have been tall and lanky.
So the man that began the year as the Cardinal closer is now on the mound. That's Ryan Franklin.
10 ERA pretty much describes his season so far. 5 blown saves. But 27 saves last year, 38 the year before that. 2009, a 1.92 ERA and a 3.46 ERA last year.
know.
Like he's never left. 1 out. Last time Albert played third base, we believe, was 2002. He started 37 games that year at third base for the Cardinals.
Is there any question that a ball was going to be hit at him?
No.
No.
Well, and the way they're playing McCann, and they had Chipper played this way a little bit too. Don't be surprised if Brian drops a bunt down here.
Mott goes an inning, gives up an unearned run for St. Louis. Franklin, their third pitcher of the day.
It's like Franklin, with all of his difficulties here at the beginning of the year, at least looking at him from up here, it's like he's lost that Pappy Yoakum beard he had working too. Good eye, Brian.
You know, it doesn't explain away the 10 ERA, but in talking to some of their guys, their broadcasters about Franklin, the blown save aspect of it, he has been victimized, I think, every blown save by some blunder behind him defensively.
Walk would be nice.
3-1 fastball groove down the middle might be nice too. See what Brian can do with it.
Brian's going to take a shot for the bullpen right here if he gets what he wants.
Wind blowing out at the ballpark. That'll help too. Got a pitch to hit, but he will round out second. 2 out.
Great thing for Albert is that not only is he getting to play third, but with this shift, he's getting to play short a little bit too. So it's a big day for him.
Back to his roots.
Let's put him at second. See how that works out for him.
It shows you how hard and what an inexact science it is to draft guys at 18 years old. I mean, to think that he was drafted as a shortstop, you know, I mean, it's tough to project where guys are going to be. I mean, obviously you go a lot on talent, but it's tough trying to figure out what an 18-year-old kid's going to blossom into.
And in the 13th round.
Yeah.
Here's Dan Uggla.
He's getting a lot of first-hand help over there from their bench too. Jose Oquendo handles their infielders, and Jose is not sitting out of the dugout. He's right at the end in that opening there, and he's yelling to Albert on every hitter where he wants him to play. In this instance, he wanted him guarding the line, and he told him to move over.
Fly ball right. And Franklin works a 1-2-3, bottom of the 8th. On we go to the 9th. Division title hopeful. The Brewers are in town here tomorrow night. If you're in Atlanta, you can watch the game on Peachtree TV. Everywhere else around the South on Fox Sports South. Joe and Tom will have the coverage for you starting at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. And Messrs. Braun and Fielder are heating up for the Brew Crew.
If you want to see some offense, you've seen what the Cardinals can do, and now you got the Brewers coming in. We've talked the whole month of April about how much trouble the Braves hitters were going to have with that pitching staff that they were going to face night after night in the tough pitching. Well, this homestand, it's shifted over to the pitchers having to deal with good offense.
And Braves into the bullpen deep again. Johnny Venters answers the AT&T call and will pitch for the 15th time.
Yeah, and third straight day. He's been in every game of this Cardinals series. Outstanding numbers.
Mark Hamilton just checked in to play first base. He'll start it off. Off the pitching rubber. Alex. Quick flip. 1 out.
There's no way that should not have been a hit.
No, that was a base hit all.
And it happened to hit the toe hold on the rubber. And that's our Toyota play of the game. Look at Alex already getting his feet in position as soon as he was ready to catch the ball. Good play. Toyota play of the game.
As Calso bats.
Get that leadoff guy for a change. 4 for 9 getting the leadoff guy on.
I was just getting ready to say, there goes the leadoff guy again until the mound got in the way.
As Calso's a California kid. Went to UC Davis. Plays happy Alex, man in shortstop. Good game for him, 2 out. Got to stop him here. Hopefully win it in the bottom of the inning. Braves bullpen getting thin. Yeah, I've seen our fair share of extra inning games the last week or so.
Seen your fair share of the middle of their order too. Don't want to have to go through them again.
Here's Rasmus. Johnny going right after him. 0-2.
I remember 3 springs ago when Hal McRae was still the hitting coach for the Cardinals, and they were having a spring training game in Orlando against the Braves at Disney World, and he asked me to watch this guy. He was talking about Rasmus. They kept Edmonds, he said, but I think this kid's ready, and he was right.
Johnny Venters was right in the top of the 9th. Had an easy inning. Let's see if the Braves can win it in walk-off style. Cardinals.
Yeah, this was last year against the Cardinals, and pretty sure Alex knows he got it. So a repeat of that today would be nice. Let's just, like I said, hope it's not as dark when it happens today.
Yes.
Prefer to see it happen right now. I got a 10-year-old baseball game to get to, so let's go. Come on.
Alex has already homered today. Got the Braves on the board against Jaime Garcia, who was rolling along. In fact, he was perfect through 4.
But I agree with Joe. End it here. Let's not see Pujols, Halladay, and Berkman again until hopefully they've cooled off.
Painting the corners, and he did, but he didn't get the call. Hang with him.
I don't think anybody's going to get Mr. Barrett's face too much.
No. Well, you have
I'm
to
not
get
mistaken.
up real high.
Wasn't he a sparring partner for Mike Tyson or something?
Golden Gloves boxer. And
yeah.
Didn't want to swing, but did in self-defense.
I was going to say, it might have been a good thing, or at least a lot less painless that he did.
that hurts too when you do that. Torque your body like that, trying to get the bat out of the way, get you out of the way. Braves don't see the Cardinals again until September. A weekend series in St. Louis, the 9th, 10th, and 11th. There'll be a whole lot of changes on both these clubs at that point.
And it'll be a lot cooler in St. Louis by then.
I was just going to say that. You can miss July in St. Louis. That's not a bad thing. Although the new ballpark can't be nearly as hot as the old one was.
No.
It's one of the great lines that many that Casey Stengel had. They had the All-Star game in the early days of Busch Stadium 2, AstroTurf and all that. And the old professor came out there and they asked him, well, what are your impressions of this new ballpark for the Cardinals? He said, well, it certainly holds the heat well. Little pop. Terrio won't give up on this one. No, and he dropped it. Talk about defensive problems of Albert Pujols. That's Terrio's 7th error.
Well, it happens to the best of them.
And that's why you run them out, kids.
And there's that defensive miscue behind Franklin you talked about.
Mather hasn't been able to put a bunt down in either of his 2 attempts. Friday night, or today. He actually got the bunt down today, but he bunted it right back to the pitcher who got the lead runner.
And again, another situation that the game has a way of finding you. You can't get the bunt down. Well, guess what? You're going to get another shot at it.
Not to disrespect Ryan Franklin. He's tough enough under any circumstances, but he doesn't throw as hard as Mott does.
Ooh, Molina takes a shot.
I think this happened to him Friday night when he came up out of his crouch a little early on a bunt attempt. in the gap of that shin guard on the knee.
He's had some knee problems in his career. That's why they signed Gerald Laird to take some of the workload away from Yadier Molina.
One thing to keep an eye on here, I think, is I don't know how much first base Hamilton's played, but that last pitch he took off awful early. And if he does that again and Alex can read it and get a good secondary lead, it takes a lot of pressure off of Mather to have to put down a perfect bunt with those guys creeping in on him. Here's what we were talking about on that last pitch. You see, he's creeping right there. That's a great opportunity for Alex to get 6 or 8 more feet and turn a mediocre bunt into a successful bunt, because you're not going to throw him out at second base.
Being patient. Give Joe that. Got a bunch of strikes.
He scored 2 of the Braves' 5 runs today, including the one that put the Braves up briefly by a 5-4 score.
There you go.
A beauty. Winning run at second. And Nate McLouth will hit.
Fastball let her high, kept the bat at the top of the strike zone, made it a little easier to put that one down. Came right off the plate, too.
Good for him, you know, after a couple of unsuccessful tries. And, you know, it says a lot about Freddie that after a couple of unsuccessful tries, he still has the confidence in him in that situation to play the game the right way.
Braves won 25 games last year in their final at bat. Would love to snatch today's in the 9th. Now the arms for the Cardinals, Joe.
Rasmus, excellent arm. Berkman, excellent arm. Holiday, average.
Good speed at second, good speed in the box.
Should went in that left center field gap and we won't have to worry about anybody's arms.
Here's where, too, I mean, you're trying to play it normally on defense because the winning runs at second base, but guarding the line here, like with Nate, I'd have Hamilton on the line, because if he hits it down the line, game's over. If he hits it between Hamilton and Descalso, at least Berkman's got a chance to throw him out. There are times to guard the line and times not to, but anything down the line right here, it's over.
I think this might be the unintentional, intentional walk. Franklin's really not giving him much to hit, and with a base open, sure much rather try and get a double play ball with Conrad.
Conrad is the man on deck. Two on, one out. An error, a sacrifice, and a walk. Brooks Conrad announced. Dave Duncan to the mound.
Scouting report.
Well, you know, in this situation, I've always felt, look, you got runners in scoring position. You got hitters are generally more aggressive when you have a runner in scoring position. Even more so when you're coming off the bench, and most pinch hitters, I think, tend to look fastball first pitch. So, for me, anything but a fastball is what I'd be throwing right here. But you know, Ryan Franklin, obviously his fastball is his best pitch, so, you know, we'll see where he goes. But I'd right here, for me, I'm seeing if he's going to commit to being, you know, impatient with that runner in scoring position, I'm throwing him something off speed. And
if I'm Brooks, I want to approach this first pitch almost like a 3-1 count. I want it to be right where I want it and look for it in a certain zone. If I get it, fine. If I don't, fine.
Got to be right in his happy zone.
It was off speed.
This is certainly another one of those situations where you still have a base open. For me personally, I don't care that it's third base. The game's on the line right here. I'm doing everything I can to make him hit my pitch, and if I walk him, then you try another guy.
And that time, Molina took the. Did he get a foul tip or did the bat get him?
Foul tip, I think.
Yeah, foul tip. The only problem with that, Tom, if you do pitch around him somehow and you put him at second and third, then a sac fly beats you.
Brooks Conrad, Major League Baseball's clutch performer for the month of May. It's May 1st, 2011.
Lightning in a bottle.
Little flare. That's got a chance. It drops. Here comes Alex. We're walking home a winner. 6-5.
With all Brooks Conrad had to take last year, his teammates didn't even give him a chance to round first base. They were on him.
Yeah, he looked around and was shocked to see, I think it was Mather right there ready to tackle him. Right now, Ryan Franklin's got to be thinking, what else is going to go wrong in this season?
Remember, an error on Albert Pujols at first led to a Braves run. Terrio's ninth inning error opened the floodgates. And fellas, the Braves get that leadoff man on in the ninth, and this time they're the team that walks home with a win.
And trailed 4-0 in this ball game. Great comeback on a day when they really needed a win after 2 tough losses to start this series.
Yeah, a couple tough losses and a comeback win, and to do it in the nature in which they've been beat the last 2 games. So that'll be big for their confidence.
Johnny Venter's the winner. Ryan Franklin the loser. 2 hours and 55 minutes. 6-5 is our final score. Coming up next, it's Braves Live. We'll have Freddie Gonzalez post-game sound and all of our highlights. For Joe and Tom, I'm Chip on this winning afternoon. 6-5. Braves beat the Cardinals.